like to call the Township of North Huntington Board of Commissioners work session meeting for Thursday, February 12th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Roll call, Assistant Manager Fonzie.
Commissioner Hempel.
Here.
Commissioner Atwood.
Here.
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Zona.
Here.
Commissioner McGee.
Here.
Commissioner McHugh.
Here.
Commissioner Higas.
Here, can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If any residents would like to speak tonight, could you please sign the book at the podium? Thank you. Our first resident, Nick, if you come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Nick. I'm a resident of North Huntington. I'm here this evening to ensure that the public record remains accurate and clear regarding a sequence of events that occurred during the spring of 2025. On April 10th, Mrs. Kukic appeared before this board intending to speak. When called upon by Commissioner Jason Atwood, who was acting president at the time, she declined her time after realizing the individuals she wished to address were not present and reserved her remarks for a future meeting. On April 16th, Ron Zona addressed this board and stated that one of the commissioners had been discussing information from executive session that should not have been disclosed publicly. Although he did not name a commissioner, he called for that individual's immediate resignation. That statement is part of the public record. On May 15th, multiple citizens appeared before this board to express serious concerns regarding vehicle break-ins and stolen vehicles within the township, some of which were reportedly used in drive-by shootings. The primary concern raised by residents was a lack of communication. Commissioner Rich Gray publicly stated that he was unaware of the vehicle thefts and that he had learned about them from a plumber who was working at his home. Commissioner Gray has also stated on the public record that this board serves as the oversight body of the township. If that is the case, it is deeply concerning that significant public safety developments were not communicated through proper administrative channels so that the board could fulfill its oversight responsibilities. On May 15th, the chief of police was not present. Commissioner Eric Gass encouraged residents to return on May 21st so that they could address the chief directly. On May 21st, the public was informed that the chief was again not present due to FBI training. A right-to-know request was subsequently filed seeking documentation regarding the nature of that training, the cost to taxpayers, and the public benefit derived from it. To date, no substantive answer has been provided. More importantly, on May 21st, Mrs. Kukic addressed the board and stated that she had received a phone call from Officer Carl Steinkoff. According to her public statement, the officer acknowledged her right to speak at the town square, but advised her that certain individuals and topics would be unfavorable to discuss. If accurately represented, a law enforcement officer contacting a private citizen to caution against specific topics of public speech raises serious First Amendment concerns. To date, there has been no meaningful public clarification or action taken regarding that allegation. Also on May 21st, Commissioner Gass made a motion on the board to meet with me in an effort to resolve ongoing conflict. That motion received no second. Commissioner Gray later stated on the record that without a second and a vote, there could be no public discussion, and he apologized for not seconding the motion. At the next meeting, June 12th, I suggested that the motion be made again, properly seconded and voted upon so that the board could publicly explain its position. Once again, the motion was made, and once again, there was no second. The record therefore reflects that the procedural explanation offered by Mr. Gray on May 21st was not followed by corrective action at the subsequent meeting. On June 18th, Commissioner Eric Gass formally announced his resignation and intentions to move from the township. I present this timeline not for speculation but for clarity. These events are part of the public record and deserve transparency and resolution. As of today, many of these substantive questions remain unanswered. If any member of this board wishes to address these matters this evening, I welcome it. If not, additional formal right to know requests will be filed so that the record may be complete through lawful channels. From the beginning of this process, I have stated clearly and respectfully that I will not surrender to procedural obstruction or abuse of authority. I remain committed to resolution and transparency. And I have a right to know request 3 pages long that I'll be submitting this evening to, I'm assuming, Mr. Fonzie in Harry's absence. And these questions are things that, this information should help us answer some of these questions you guys refuse to answer on the record. I appreciate your guys' time. Please meet with me so we can resolve this issue because I'm not going away. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nick. Is there any other residents who would like to speak tonight that didn't get a chance to sign the book at the podium? Okay, not seeing any response to citizen input. Anyone have anything for Nick tonight? All right, thank you. Work session discussion topics, Assistant Manager Fonzie.
Yeah, the first item you have in front of you is the next solar ordinance draft. So last month, Commissioner Gray asked for additional language that addressed the battery energy storage systems, like the one we have off of Ridinger Park Road. Sort of a landlocked piece of property, but they did receive preliminary approval last year. So I added that in the definition section, and I also, section E, everything highlighted in yellow is the new language. So it sort of mimics what we have under the section D for the solar farm, large-scale utility systems. And then this week, Director Bonity had looked at this ordinance as well, and he suggested that, I believe it was under utility solar energy systems, number 3, construction and safety standards, letter A, the layout, design, and installation of the facility shall conform to applicable industry standards, including those of ANSI, UL, and other recognized certifying organizations, and shall comply with the Uniform Construction Code, Act 45, 1999, as amended, and all applicable fire and safety codes. So he thought that'd be a good idea to put under the BESS section. So if the board's okay with that, I will do that either for the next draft or if you are ready to have this advertised. So were there any other comments or questions or additions needed?
What section would that go under?
The new section that addresses the BESS systems,
Yeah.
which would be E, battery energy storage systems.
E3A.
Yeah.
So E3A.
It's under there.
it
Yeah,
would-
it's on there. That's
It would
why I was
go, oh, it is on there? Was there something else that we missed, Tom? I might have misconstrued that.
Yeah, it was under the solar panel residential
I'm sorry, not the large
Yes.
scale, yeah, the residential.
with the right-of-ways and the easement areas.
My mistake. So that would be the accessory solar energy systems. Letter C, and then there would be a third number after number 2 that would address that language that Director Bonity just pointed out.
So that same paragraph would be number 3 under there.
Under the accessory solar systems,
But it would
correct?
remain over here also?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that just sort of covers
Yep.
all of those structures under this ordinance.
Any questions or comments?
Yes. Under definitions, solar energy system, it says stores or distributes solar energy for heating, cooling, generating electricity, or other purposes. Does this apply to a solar pool heater?
I'm not familiar with those devices, if there is.
They
may be
have
familiar.
rubber mats that you throw on your roof, pump water through them, they heat there's other glass ones that you can make that look like a electricity generator, but I've seen them that way too, that mount to your roof, black, glass covered.
But their function is to heat the pool?
Yes,
Okay, I'm not familiar with those. I can do some research on that.
yeah.
I would just say from a legal perspective, I think this definition is broad enough that it catches that. So it's good to research, see how it works, but it certainly seems like, based on the plain language, it would apply.
Right.
Thank you.
And the other one would be for domestic hot water too. Instead of for the pool, does it cover if you're trying to lighten the load on your water heater, preheating it on the roof and
For the home
using it
use.
domestically? Yeah. Other question, under the best last line of that page, it says, group of batteries in the grid to store energy. Could that also say, in the grid means it could be off-site? I think something should be mentioned in there about on-site.
Okay, yeah, because the one that we had approved is an on-site. They were going to be
Right.
directly tied into the substation
Right.
at Ridinger Park Road. So you're saying like a standalone system that can be stored and then accessed at a later time or
Right.
in a different manner?
Right.
Okay.
And then there again, under section C, 1E, a building permit shall be required prior to installation. There again, does that apply to a solar pool heater or domestic hot water heater?
Yeah, I'd have to do some research. I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with that type of structure, so depending on if it's roof mounted, I would say yes. If it's just a small piece of equipment that's in the yard or next to the pool, I would say no, but again, I'll do some digging.
Okay. I'm aware of one that somebody has black rubber garden hose on their roof, 400 feet of it to heat the pool.
And I would think if you do research on that, Ryan, and we agree, and we decide here that those type of systems do not fall under here, we would have another section that would have like exemptions or something, and you
Sure.
could list things, certain things
Sure.
that would be exempt from that.
I was going to ask Commissioner Gray, just maybe for staff's recommendation or clarification, were you looking for that stuff not to be in here, or just to be maybe specified that certain things would be exempt, or so
Yes.
it didn't be a catch-all?
Exemptions.
Any other comments or changes or questions?
Just one question. So there's a couple of spots in here, like under D, and it talks about special exemptions, and they're both capitalized. Is there a reference that needs to go along with that specifically to what those special exemptions are?
Sorry, say that again, D, what was the number?
It was just where it says utility scale solar energy farms.
Oh, the special exception in the, yeah, that means it has to go through the zoning hearing board.
Okay, is there a reference that needs to be there so that people understand that that's?
I would say that that's actually a legal term of art, special exception. It's kind of like saying conditional use. So the fact that it says that just is exactly as Mr. Fonzie said, just specifies, oh, if you want to seek a special exception to do something different than what this says, you would have to go to the zoning hearing board and present evidence and surveys and things like that to show why your situation is different, such that you should be granted what is essentially much like a variance, but it is just called a special exception in a zoning ordinance.
I could just clarify that in the definition, just
Yeah, so people
so
know.
that the
'cause they
reader
wouldn't-
knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
general person's not gonna know to do that, so.
That's a great point.
The same thing, a couple times we talk about township Saldo landscaping standards. Is there a reference that needs to go there for those as well, so people know where to look for what those standards are?
Sodo, I don't know if it's
it-
defined.
It's in here a couple times, so the one I circled was under letter D, number 5, fencing, signage, and screening.
Yeah, I was just looking to see if it was defined anywhere else in the ordinance. It might not. I mean, I could put that in the definitions.
Yeah, just so, again, for the general person, if they're reading this, they don't know where to go to
Right.
find that. Thank you.
Mhm.
One other thing, under section E, number 8, decommissioning, letter F. Facility owner shall provide the cost of estimate for decommissioning activities. Should we have a reference in there to a current cost estimate, or at the end of the life cycle, or should we have a escalator clause in there that says it has to be reviewed and updated every
As
5
needed.
years?
Yeah, I thought that might have addressed that with the large-scale solar farms and not carried that over. Because I know that's what Commissioner McHugh was asking about the first draft.
There's something in G under, it says the financial security shall be adjusted as needed over time
Yes.
to account for inflation.
Yeah.
That's in the
On
next
number
section
9,
down,
yeah.
yeah.
So that didn't make it over into.
No, it's in G, it's in that same
Yeah.
section, just G.
The
Okay.
next letter,
Yeah, the
but
next letter.
Yeah, shall be adjusted as needed over time. So that, it's separate from the actual bond that they would be posting for the construction of the facility.
and the bond is mentioned where?
Letter G,
Gee,
the same section, section 8.
okay. As a bond, I see that.
It's the performance bond. It's sufficient to guarantee full decommissioning and site restoration. This security shall be adjusted as needed over time to account for inflation or other market changes.
Okay. So that covers decommission?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the initial performance bond will be released upon completion of the project, so that'll go away because the township, or the applicant would have 5 years to construct the project, so that money should still be good.
Okay.
But I think some of the drafts that Commissioner McHugh found, it actually stated certain percentages and dollar amounts, and I wanted to avoid that so as to not lock us into something.
Right. Okay.
Well, if the board has no other comments or questions or recommendations, System Manager Fonzie, I guess you have
Got some work to do.
a little bit of follow-up on this one yet again.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, for clarification, Commissioner Gray, you mentioned some of those smaller solar units. You were probably mentioned that about, will you want to exclude those, in your opinion, correct? Like, you don't want them part of this policy?
No.
Okay. I just want that so the staff understands where we're going with that.
Okay, the second item is talking about summer help positions for recreation events. And I want to turn this over to Coordinator Kincaid because she came up with this idea and she can explain it and what she sees for potential summer help.
Thank you. So every spring into summer, we budget for and look to hire up to 4 part-time seasonal parks maintenance staff. The last few years, we haven't met that number. We've had less and less interest of people looking to hold those positions in the summertime. For example, this past summer, we only had 2 that we hired, but we budget for 4. And with the comprehensive plan coming out in 2023 and the need from the community expressing the need for more recreational programs, I do have a lot more planned for this summer, spring, summer, and fall. So the idea would be to take one of those 4 positions and change it to a seasonal recreation worker to help administer those programs. This is a job description, more of a catch-all, so that if we have bigger events that happen within those seasons, they can also assist with those. I'm kind of taking on more of the roles I do with those events, where I direct people where to go, our vendors where to go. We have our parks full-time staff. They help set up with those. They would still do those jobs. This wouldn't infringe on any of their responsibilities for those events. It would just be another person to help with the setup and running of the events. But mostly their job duties would include hosting, coordinating, running the rec programs we have planned for this year and moving forward. So a lot of the qualifications are what we require for the part-time maintenance positions, and then also adding in that they need to submit their clearances because they will be working with people of all ages. So their criminal history, their child abuse clearance, their FBI fingerprinting clearances, all of that. And then asking for prior experience running programs or working with families or kids or any type of recreation experience. Or even if they are looking to be a teacher or something along those lines, this would be a good position for them to gain experience working with people of all ages. So this description, like I said, is a catch-all for all the different things we have planned, but just looking to hire somebody to help with the different things this spring, summer, and fall.
Any questions from the board?
Is there a firm date on how many weeks or how many months this position would exist?
So I have at the top April through September, just because the majority of the programs would be scheduled for that time frame. We don't have indoor facility spaces other than this room that we really use for programming. So we don't host a lot in the winter months. So a lot of our spring programs will start in April whenever the weather starts to change, and then we tend to slow down as we get closer to Halloween. So the idea would be April through September, but really it just depends on what we have going on. We can go a little bit farther into fall if we have more planned. I know some of our part-time maintenance workers last summer worked into the fall because we had a lot of stuff for them to do and a lot of projects for them to work on. But the earliest we would look to hire to start would be April.
Okay. My concern obviously is that this becomes a full-time position.
Right, which we really don't have much going on in the winter, so it would definitely be something where they would have a date where we would discuss with them. This is when we're looking to end for the year. We don't have much going on beyond that would require multiple people beyond myself to handle. So then we would address that with the worker whenever we get closer to the end of programming for the fall.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from the board?
Are we opening this up to everybody or just people who live in the township?
I don't think we have any restrictions on residency for our other positions we hire for, so my idea was just to open it up to whoever is interested. But I'm open to any suggestions. So.
Is there any number of hours we're looking for the seasonal workers to work?
I believe just anything 39 hours and below, from my experience for part-time. You can't have them go beyond that. my experience working with other Parks and Rec departments, you couldn't they had to stay below 39 hours. Anything 40 and above would be considered full-time, so we would make sure that they would not pass that threshold. I'm mostly looking for a few hours a couple times a week to help cover programs when I'm not able to, or to assist with programs where we have a larger participation in them. So I really don't think we would even get close to 39.
I was just kind of asking, because if we put, say, you know, up to X amount of hours, it'd give people an idea of exactly like what they're signing up for.
Right.
You know, if you have somebody that's looking to just do a couple hours a week, and that's what we're asking for, somebody that's looking to get, you know, like 39 hours a week.
Right.
You know, then they apply, they get the position, but, yeah, they're only getting 15 hours a week. Then they, you know, they back out or resign.
Okay, yeah, I can look at what I have scheduled and what it would add up to hours-wise each week, and then add that into the description as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one. Coordinator Kincaid, 39 hours if I can. I'm just going to address the solicitor. In some towns and some businesses, anything over 36 hours.
Yeah,
just
I would say we should probably talk about this in executive session from a labor law perspective,
Okay.
but there's definitely a few things we'll have to watch out for, so let's just touch base. But yeah, these type of programs are done almost everywhere, so nothing to worry about. But
Okay.
good thought, thank you.
And one other question. I guess there again, we can talk about it in an executive, but the pay rate. It just seems like it's.
No, that's
deterrent.
public.
Yeah.
The pay rate's public, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, and there again, it just seems like it's sometimes a deterrent at that rate, $15. So
Okay.
maybe something to take a look at to encourage people to apply.
Yeah, I believe that was the rate we had for our seasonal workers last year. So I just went off of based off of what we did last year for those.
Isn't that what we had budgeted?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely personally comfortable, and I don't necessarily care how long the part-time position went, even if we stay within budget. So if they only work 20 hours and you want them to go a little bit into the winter time, I'm comfortable with that as long as we would stay within what we budgeted for that staff. So if we're taking one that's out of, per se, the more cutting the grass labor force, maintaining to pull them to events, as long as we stay within that, and if you stretch it out or however you see fit to, you know, utilize that person's hours, if we go into the winter months, I'm completely fine with that, as long as the budget number stays the same.
Right. Sounds good.
Yeah, and I think this is needed too, because if you look at the programs that you're doing, like we've gone from maybe 5 or 6 programs a year till you're probably over 20 different
Yeah.
things. I see the list that you do. So, I mean, I think this is overdue, that we need somebody to assist through the busy months over the summer. So I agree with it too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, the last discussion topic is the senior tax rebate proposal. Commissioner Zona had reached out to me last week about this topic, and I know that this board discussed it last March, I believe it was March. Didn't really go anywhere. I know that we had a draft, I believe, from Unity Township in Westmoreland County, and they're doing the same thing. And then I just learned that Hempfield Township is talking about enacting this program. So, Commissioner Zona, I don't know if you wanted to kind of go through the list or talk about what you were thinking, but I did go over this with our accounting clerk, Rob Boswell, and he said everything looks good. Like, he likes the way it's set up, that you're actually paying your taxes, and then the board would have a chance to either, you know, give refunds based on income ranges or a percentage like we do with the fire tax rebates. So,
Yeah, and the bullet points that it's in our book here, I put that together and sent it to Ryan and asked him to send it out. And you're right, this is pretty much a draft off of Unity Township. This was enacted in Unity Township in 2013, I believe, is when they enacted this, the senior rebate. So now Hempfield, as you said, they just enacted something last month. But I know we did discuss it last year, and I think at the time there wasn't much appetite for it. I think if you look back, at least my years on this board, we were working by our shoestrings every year, and if not for those ARPA funds for those couple years, we would have raised taxes several years ago. So once we raised taxes here, I thought that would be the appropriate time to be able to take advantage of something like this. And I just looking over, I just got some stats together, so Unity Township's been doing this since 2013. They have 21,600 residents. Hempfield just started this. They have 41,500 residents. We have 31,200 residents as of 2023. If you look at our age group, I believe from our last comprehensive plan that I went off of, over 65, we have approximately 6,100 residents that are over 65 years old, which is approximately 5.1% of our population in the township. So that's only 5% I believe would be eligible. That would be the maximum amount that would be eligible for this rebate. But then there's some other things in there. And again, I just put these together, and my goal here was just to bring this up for discussion. And I mean, my ultimate, I thought if we discussed this and we did come up with an ordinance on this, that it probably wouldn't take effect until January 1st of next year is what I was thinking, because we're not in the middle of a year, but we've started the year. So I mean, you have the thing up on the board there, my bullet points. I don't want to read through it all and bore everybody, but
Manager Falk had done some research on this too, and this table that he sent me is actually from state of Pennsylvania. They do the rebate as well. So like I said, you can break it down into income ranges and then set maximum rebates, or you could also do it by a percentage. So it would be up to the board how you'd want to set it up.
And again, and I will even say what caused me to even consider this and to start researching this and looking into it, when we were discussing the millage raise here a couple months ago, so many residents that I spoke with, they were okay with paying the higher tax. They mentioned the seniors and how it would affect the seniors. So many people said that to me, so I started thinking, and started researching it and got these up. Now, I was very familiar with Unities because, again, we discussed it last time, but I know Mike Obardo is a supervisor in Unity who I've been friends with for years, so I was very familiar with this, and I know it works very well in their township. So, again, I was just throwing it out there for discussion. And Hempfield's is similar to those bullet points I put up. They don't have, I don't think, at least what I could find, they didn't have as many limitations on it. It was a little more open. And again, it would only apply to our township taxes. It doesn't apply to the county, school, any fire taxes, light taxes. It's just a township real estate tax.
Any questions or comments for the board, or maybe direction for Assistant Manager Fonzie? Maybe you could pull some more data or numbers if the board's interested.
Do we have any idea how much less money we would take in because of this program?
No, not at this point. I know that's
Yeah.
what Mr. Boswell wanted to find out, to see how much we could potentially be refunding
Right.
after a collection season. So as Commissioner Zona said, this wouldn't go into effect till next year, so maybe we can crunch some numbers with this tax season and see, number one, who's eligible, and then how much potentially maximum we'd be refunding.
Right. And that's what I was looking at, if the board saw fit, just to get the ball rolling and to start looking. And I would just say, Commissioner Gray, in Hempfield Township at least, and again, they have more residents. What did I say? They have 41,500, so they have an additional 10,000 residents. They estimate that that 85,000 to 140,000 is what it would cost them, is what they're estimating.
Okay.
85,000 to 140,000. That's their estimate on what the rebate would cost them.
Yeah.
So, again, I think we have 10,000 less people. As far as their demographics, I don't know. I would assume it's very similar to ours, where it's probably maybe 5% of their population that would be eligible, but, so, I would
I
think
think the
that
one
would.
thing with the population, though, we can't go off of, because a lot of the population will live in a family home where they might have children or a spouse, where probably that
Yeah.
5%, all those seniors probably own homes. We got to go by actually homeowners versus
Right, you're
the
right, yeah,
percentage,
yeah.
and not
Yep.
for the numbers. So, I mean, I'm comfortable if the staff's willing to maybe explore and try to get some more numbers back, data-wise, what it would actually do to affect the budget. I just personally have a hard time giving maybe rebates or discounts, even if it is the seniors, part of the community we should obviously care about after we just raise taxes, though, but.
And again, I think that's the reason why I
Yeah.
did bring it up now, is because I
Because we
thought
did,
now,
yeah.
now would be the time. Before, we were just squeezing by every year with the help from the federal government, even those years, so.
One question I'd have is, who would manage all of this? Is this the township or is this the tax collector? Because if you look at some of the items in here, you would need someone to verify deeds, and if there were people who were doing appeals, would that all go through us? And that would be another cost I'd want to see before we make any kind of decision.
Yeah, because it would obviously take a lot of staff time.
Yep.
And is this 100% rebate, or is it graduated
I think
depending
that
on
System Manager
income?
Fonzie brought up that thing, and that, we won't have to
Yeah.
go off this, but I think this is what you said the state uses.
Yeah, you can do
So-
income
Okay.
limits.
So that's like income ranges and what the rebate would be. But obviously, we could come up with something ourselves or do a percentage of
Right.
their taxes paid off of income amount.
Because I believe for local firefighters, that rebate is taxed at 20% of their local income tax, property tax.
But that brings up another question. So if somebody was to get that rebate at $1,000 and then they came to us and got $1,000, this is off of property tax, I believe, as well. So are they making money?
It would have to be, it can't be
Who's
more
checking
than what
this?
they paid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But then we'd have to check, what did they get from the state?
yeah. Well, no, this would just be off the township
It's
taxes,
just the
so
town-
it doesn't
okay.
matter, yeah, it would just be
Okay.
what they paid in our township taxes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot more to do on it. That's
Yeah.
why I said, that's why I thought of bringing it up early in the year, that if the majority of the board does want to move forward, we can make it effective next year. We have a whole year to discuss this and to work on it, instead of waiting till the last minute and try to.
Does the board have any desire having staff put a little time into researching this?
I'd like to see some numbers. I don't think that would hurt. We can kind of go from there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I think you have some directions, System Manager Fonzie.
Mhm.
I believe that is all you have for your report tonight, sir.
Yes.
All right, community development topics.
I'll take this one
Okay.
too. This, the first item, the sheets consolidation, it's just a bit of housekeeping. This was a consolidation that was approved back in October of 2025. Once approved by the board, the applicant has 90 days to record the subdivision at the Recorder of Deeds. That 90 days lapsed, so now we're bringing them back through for a reapproval. Nothing changed on the plans, it's just simply signing another set of plans with a fresh date and a fresh 90-day period, so really no issue there.
And Community Development Director, Melanie?
I'll take this one
Okay, you
too.
got, sorry.
Next month he'll have something.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the Lincoln Corner 2 Plaza revision. So this plan down on Route 30 next to the other Lincoln Corner development, the medical offices, they received approval back in July of 2025, and it was for a one-story, 9,300 square foot office building. At that time, they had received 6 modifications from the board, and between July and, I believe it was November, they had satisfied all conditions on the plan. So they were actually starting site work. But then in November, we heard from the applicant again saying that they were going through with their architect, and they wanted to make a couple more changes. So I just wanted to bring them through the board again, because what they're proposing is, it's the same footprint of the building, but now they want to go to a two-story building, and now it's 13,980 square feet instead of the 9,300 square feet. So the site essentially is remaining the same. My number one question was, what does that do to parking? Turns out that they had enough parking even with the increase of square footage. The stormwater system, stormwater plan doesn't change at all. The only thing that's really changing, other than the one-story to two-story, is in the upper right corner, you'll see a red rectangle. That is parking space number 1. And then behind that, there's a longer rectangle. That was a short retaining wall. So they were able to grade that out where they actually lose that retaining wall. And then space number 1 in the new proposed drawing gets moved down to the bottom left. You can see the green rectangle there. So those were pretty much some minor changes on the site. Again, other than one-story to two-story. I just wanted to memorialize these changes because, they had their approvals, they were starting site work, but I just wanted to get it locked in that this is exactly what they're building. The applicant and their engineer is here from Ascent Engineers. I didn't know if the board had any other questions or if you were comfortable with this amended approval. And again, they already satisfied their conditions. KU Resources, our consulting engineer, looked at the changes that were proposed, and everything still meets the ordinance, and they were comfortable with what was proposed.
Board have any questions for the applicant? If you guys have anything you could add?
Yeah, my name's Reed Safrank. I'm with Ascent Consulting Engineers. We're the civil consultant for the client for the project. And just to reiterate what Ryan had said, the footprint does not change. And the actual look of the building would not change that much. The original building was a one-story that had a parapet on top of it that made it look like it was 2 stories. The revised plan would actually have a partial second floor on the east side of the building to give roughly another 5,000 square foot of usable space. So the building would actually look the same as what was originally approved, just slightly larger, of course, because there would be a real second floor, but the concept would be the same. The required parking is 33 spaces for the 15,000 square foot building. We have 46. Again, the traffic study was done for a 14,150 square foot building, so we're within that criteria. And of course, the wall, we were able to get rid of that wall to soften that grading up against the property line a little bit.
And just to reiterate, this site still connects to the bottom site, because there was a proposal that cut off that connection that was denied. But this drawing here, it still does connect to the lower site to keep that traffic flow internal.
In the building on the other site, is that a two-story, is that two-story building?
Yes.
It is, okay.
And
So that'll,
it'll look very similar.
okay.
Yeah, it's the same type of architecture, similar materials, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So it's, the idea is to create somewhat of a medical campus.
Board have any other questions for the applicant or the staff?
Just to clarify, with the rear wall acting as a retaining wall, there's still a 10-foot buffer between the property line, right?
No, there would not be. This is a corner lot, zoned C1 commercial.
Okay.
And in C1 commercial, the setbacks, it actually has 2 fronts and 2 sides. So the side setback in a commercial zone is 0 feet. So that wall could be on the property line or up
Okay.
against the property line. So
That's-
they don't need that 10-foot buffer, so to speak.
Right. And it's going to be holding back dirt, right?
Correct, yeah, the wall was already studied by the consulting engineer, structural engineer, and they're good with it.
Interesting.
Are there any other exceptions on this plan?
No additional modifications or waivers were asked. Like I said, they were previously approved with the 6 modifications. Those are still all in play, I believe, Reg?
Yes, correct.
So no additional, again, just the minor change and then the increase in square footage and truly a 2-story building.
Thank you.
I guess my only concern is, and not that it may matter here legally, but if you have a retaining wall, I've seen them fail. So the retaining wall, if it failed, would push into a living space or a working space, occupied space, right? Okay.
Is there space where he's talking behind the building where the, are you gonna be able to drive a vehicle back there or no?
No.
There's only, okay. It's gonna be right against the building.
If it's on the property line, it's no longer their property. So if the neighbor's property pushes in the wall of their building, what happens?
I would say there would be a private lawsuit between
Okay.
those two parties.
Right?
Does the board have
Okay.
any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Assistant Manager Fonzie. Any further board comments?
I do have 2 things. First off, to the park staff, Lydia, the father-daughter dance was incredible. My daughter had a great time. It was a well-run event. Thank you. Thank you to the rec committee and for all the staff who helped put that together.
Thank you so much. It was really fun. I mean, I had a good time, so I'm sure the little girls had a great time and their dad. So thank you so much. And thanks for coming.
My other item is, a couple months ago, I asked for some data regarding the speed monitoring. I've yet to receive that. I was, I guess without Harry here, maybe we can pass that along. And I also had
What
question-
location was that?
So the target areas that the police had set up, so the secondary roads, I believe Barnes Lake's one of them.
I think Commissioner Atwood was looking for some data about how many traffic duties or shifts that they were out in the residential areas where we're concerned about like school bus traffic and just residential speeding through, like he's saying, secondary neighborhoods
Okay.
and cut-through areas that we often all probably get calls about.
I can follow up with the chief on that.
That would be great, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other further board comments? If not, I just.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Discussion. All those in favor by state and I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Meeting adjourned at 7:47. Executive session to follow to talk about legal matters. Legal and labor.